my 18 years, I played thousands of games. Every game has its own weaknesses and strengths. But there is one game in particular that stands above them all, Red Dead Redemption 2. And every game has a great protagonist. Every game has that one person that we all just glued onto. But the protagonist is better than the game itself, Arthur Morgan. Arthur Morgan is a protagonist of Red Dead Redemption 2. At first, Arthur wasn't liked from the fandom nor loved, as they wanted to play John Marston in the first game, originally created in Red Dead Redemption 1. But we got Arthur Morgan as Dutch's most trusted and best gun in the Van der Linde gang. Arthur is very intimidating, vicious, and a vile man. A very crude outlaw indeed. He is tough, hard to break, which is displayed in the story numerous times. But another thing about Arthur Morgan is that, one, he's not actually all that bad. What I mean is, well, we all know that you can play two routes with this, the low honor route or the high honor route. We're going to go with the high honor route in this video. So, what I mean is that he's not all that bad, is that Arthur is an outlaw. Yeah, the life he lives is bad. He knows he is not a good person. But the one thing I will say about Arthur is that he puts the gang before himself. What I mean by this is their needs, their wants, and everything goes right back to the gang. He always thinks of the gang first. He always protects, he always helps, he always saves them. He's doing a lot for the gang. He's darn near literally the main member of the Van der Linde gang, as I mean. It's not about leadership. He is a soldier, but this is their best soldier. This man is always bringing in money. He's always doing everything he can, and he gives a very riveting story. But I will say, he literally mentions it a bunch of times that he loves this gang. This gang is his family. This is all Arthur really has. Mainly enough, he'll die for it, kill for it. He mentions this over and over and over again, and he tries to take charge. And another thing about Arthur is that he has a lot of personality. He's not just a bland protagonist. He has personality. He has say. He stands up for what he knows, and that's what I truly like about Arthur. So, as a character and powerful protagonist like this, he doesn't have that much to lose. Because one thing is, he knows he's bad. He knows it, and that's okay. Because he came to grips on who he is. That's the thing I really like about Arthur, because he doesn't really like beating around the bush. But, the one thing is, he would literally give his life to his own gang.
Found! You know, nothing means more to me than this gang. The bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me.
I don't believe a word of that, Arthur.
Get him out of here!
Now, there is some members of the Van der Linde gang he does like. I will not mention no names, but clearly the scene you are seeing right now, he's definitely number one. But Arthur would also have a failed romance with somebody because of his life, which is very sad. But it is okay because he still has something dear to him. That is the gang, hanging out with Jack, hanging out with his father figure, Dutch and Hosea. These people are the closest to his hearts, and it shows this sense of selflessness too. That's what I really like about Arthur. He's as selfless as it gets. He's not selfish. He helps people. He tries to, at least. And he gets things done. And even though he is rough around the edges, this man is still a hero to to the gang, he's always there. He's always helping. He's always getting things done. This is what you call Dutch's most valuable gun. But he wasn't always like this. He didn't start out like this. He was raised to be like this. Loyalty is all Arthur knows. This is why for a lot of cases in the game, as Arthur Morgan, you can see him doing very crazy tasks for a family member. I was gonna say gang member, but technically for him, it's family. That's all it is. It's just family. Family is all he knows. The gang is all he knows. We all know the main goal of Arthur Morgan was to leave. Just leave. Get a bunch of money and leave. That's the point of the Vanderlyn gang. All you want to do is just make a bunch of money and literally go somewhere that the law and nobody will never disturb them, where they can all live their lives. Literally, Dutch even said that they live, quote unquote, we live free. Whatever that means, technically, if you're just running and killing, but at the end of the day, that's how they saw it. But Arthur, on the other hand, he starts to see things a little differently now. He starts helping people. He starts reassuring people. He starts making, instead of just helping his own gang, he's there for other people, making sure that they are okay just as much as his own gang. Because when he's not out being an outlaw, he's out there being the original Arthur Morgan, somebody who's actually good. So, as he can see, as a good man, but he doesn't recognize himself as a good man. And still, he sees himself as one of the worst of the worst. But other people look at him and they say, you're a good man. But, unfortunately, all that would change.
Kraus, you owe him, you took the money. He wants it back, what's not to understand? Where's our money?
I don't have it.
Sell your place.
We already owe more than it's worth.
Then sell your wife, or your family, or something. We ain't your idea of charity. Is that clear?
Thomas!
What are you looking at?
Thomas!
I said what you looking at, woman.
My husband isn't well. If we could just have more...
Like I said, we ain't nobody's idea of charity. Get us the money.
Now, don't get me wrong. Arthur Morgan is not a good person. I will say, he is a good person, but let's not ignore all the things he has done. He held people ransom. He robbed banks. He robbed trains. He robbed people. He killed people. He murdered people. He property destruction, vandalism, everything. He set fields on fire. But you see, here's the thing. This is all just a job. At the end of the day, he doesn't want to be doing most of the stuff as I see. He knows what he is. And that's the one thing I really understand, what I really like and understand about Arthur Morgan. He knows he is technically a monster. And he knows what he is. But you see, while going through the chapters though, things are starting to slip through the gang. And Arthur is trying to keep everybody together in the best way he can, if you haven't noticed. Because number one, Dutch is losing his mind. The father figure, the one that literally saved him from, just in general, saved him as he sees it. That's why he's so loyal. Even though Dutch is literally losing his head right now. Everywhere they go, they always have the law and the heat on them, and they can't really have moments of rest. So they're always watching, looking behind their backs every night, trying to figure out what can they do. And with Dutch with his little crazy planning, I got a plan, it's not that well. And it's not going so well, because we're still trying to figure out what is Dutch's plan. Arthur literally starts questioning Dutch every chapter on what are we actually gonna do, because Dutch is slipping, and we don't notice this until chapter 4. But until this.
Call them now! You call them! Jesus. Part of your philosophy books cover feeding a fella. The goddamn alligator, Dutch.
Arthur Morgan would see the man that Dutch is becoming, or if he always was this man. At the end of the day, though, we're trying to understand why things are unraveling the way they are, since the heat's always on them. Even after Saint Denis, Dutch proves that he's slipping after this.
Easy, Dutch. What was that?
Horrible old crone.
But you killed her.
She was gonna betray us, Arthur. Couldn't you tell?
No.
Well, I got some Spanish. She was.
Even though the man he cares about, the man he sees as a father figure, remember, all Arthur knows is loyalty, and that he's slipping, but he refuses to leave. I mean, at this point, there really is no turning back at this point, because you done all this stuff. So, how are they gonna get through? But even worse to come, this happens. Unfortunately, one of the most depressing and saddest things has happened to our beloved protagonist, and that is he's dying. He has tuberculosis, and he got it from, mainly I think he got it because of karma, because he beat up a good man, and then he got sick. So what is he going to do now?
Morgan! Are you okay?
Oh, never better. What are you doing here?
Well, I'm on my way down to Mexico. They're finally sending me on a mission. Brother Dorkins is very jealous. What's wrong?
I'm dying, sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I got TB. I got it. Beating a man to death for a few bucks. I've lived a bad life, sister.
We've all lived bad lives, Mr. Morgan. We all sin. But I know you.
You don't know me.
Forgive me, but that's the problem. You don't know you.
What do you mean?
I don't know, but whenever we happen to meet, you're always helping people and smiling.
I had a son. He passed away. I had a girl who loved me. I threw that away. My mama died when I was a kid. And my daddy, well, I watched him die. And it weren't soon enough.
My husband died a long time ago. Life is full of pain. But there is also love and beauty.
What am I gonna do now?
Be grateful that for the first time, you see your life clearly.
Sure.
Perhaps you could help somebody. Helping makes you really happy.
But I still don't believe in nothing.
Often, neither do I. But then I meet someone like you, and everything makes sense.
You're too smart for me, sister. I guess I'm afraid.
There is nothing to be afraid of, Mr. Morgan. Take a gamble that love exists and do a loving act.
All aboard! I shall try.
I know you will. Goodbye, Mr. Morgan.
But with so little time and Arthur on his way out the door, as you know, he's dying, he has tuberculosis, who can he help through all of this chaos? Who can ground him to reality of him doing a loving act? One name, and that is John Marston and his family. They are the ones that'll ground him, even though it's clear Arthur and John's father figure dislikes them, Dutch, and sees them as traitors that they don't believe anymore, that they don't see the plan as like he does. But Arthur vows that he will try to get John out of here at all costs, because this is not going anywhere. He says it himself. Dutch is unhinged. He is not the same person we thought he was. Maybe he was always like this. They don't know. But they know one thing is clear. John and his family can't stick around for the worst. But there is a redemption story arc for Arthur Morgan. So the family father that we was beating up for the debts, he died. But his family is in turmoil. They are in the worst circumstances right now. So Arthur Morgan literally stands up and helps them. Both of them. The mother and the son. Doing the best he can. Now, the one thing I really like about Arthur in this story arc, as we could say, is that he doesn't seek forgiveness. That's the one thing. He doesn't seek any forgiveness from the family. He's doing this because he did this to them in general. He ruined their lives. But that doesn't mean he seeks forgiveness. It's not about forgiveness. It will never be about forgiveness. He wants to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And he suffers for it every day. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. Not even trying to talk about his feelings on how he actually truly feels about it. So, instead, he just wants to do the right thing by them in hopes they get the life they deserve. But it's not just them that we're helping. We're helping out everybody. Because technically, why not help everybody else instead of your own self? Because Arthur is on his way out the door. If I was a dying man, I would be doing the same thing. And that's what I really like about this the most. And he literally gives John a talk. He talks to John Marston about leaving because he knows that this ain't going nowhere, especially with Dutch getting more unhinged towards the people he raised, leaving them for dead. But that doesn't mean John and his family has to go through this mayhem, this chaos, this whatever Dutch is doing, it's not working. But every day goes by and even worse happens. The sickness is getting stronger. Arthur is dying at accelerated rate. So there's only so much time in him for him to do the right thing. So getting John out is the only thing he cares about. Arthur wants to just save everybody he can from Dutch's reign and chaos right now, because the gang has been falling apart ever since Hosea's death, and that is a big part of the story. It even affected everybody around. But Dutch keeps saying the same stuff over and over and over again, and this is not really speaking to Arthur anymore, because number one, it's just not worth it anymore. And getting John out is the only thing until this.
Fictional! John!
Sadly, John got shot, and Arthur Morgan believes that he is gone, even though Dutch says that he is dead, so he didn't see it. But that doesn't mean he can't give other people a chance, even Jack and Abigail and Tilly and Sadie. He's trying to save everybody while he still got a chance. He knows that this might be his last run. He has nothing else to lose. So all he can do is just fight for them. Fight for their dreams and lives and successes and achievements and accomplishments, whatever comes in the future. Because he knows he is not getting out of this the way everybody thinks. He is finished. He's truly done. Now, this scene is one of the best moments in the game. This is called The Last Ride. It's where he goes through all of his life throughout the whole game moments, right? He's basically going back to confront everything that happened. But the best thing happened.
John?
You left me! You left me to die! My boy, I didn't have a choice. John, I didn't have a choice.
Left me! All of you, you pick your side now because this is over. Oh, them years, Dutch. For this snake.
Oh, be quiet, cowpoke. Be quiet. You live in the clouds.
No, you be quiet, Mr. Bell, and put down your gun.
Us finding out that John was alive was amazing. But I want to talk about this quick scene with him and his horse. He knows without this horse, he wouldn't go anywhere. This is one of the most underrated scenes in the game.
I'm coming with you. I'm gonna get you out of this bullshit if it's the last goddamn thing I do.
Thank you. Oh, shit. Push in, Arthur.
No. No. I think I've pushed all I can.
Come on.
You go.
We ain't got time for this. Not now.
We ain't both gonna make it. Go. Now. I'll hold them off. It would mean a lot to me. Please. There ain't no more time for talk. Go.
Arthur.
Go to your family.
Arthur!
Get the hell out of here and be a goddamn man.
You're my brother.
I know. I know. God damn you bastards!
Arthur literally hangs back just to save John from the Pinkertons, the law, and Micah. But this fight is very symbolic. For example, what I mean by this is that Micah is a rat. He actually betrayed the gang. He has done wrong towards them. He is a real killer. He is everything that Arthur isn't really. But Arthur is the opposite of Micah. So this is more like a morals versus morals fight. Living versus surviving. Good versus evil. Redeemable versus unredeemable. That's why Arthur is still fighting. Even though Arthur literally said, on the contrary, I have still won, Micah. Because John got out. I made sure he got out. So this is a win. Even confronting Dutch at the very end saying this.
I gave you all I had. I did.
Come on. Dutch. Let's go, buddy. We made it. We won. Come on.
John made it. He's the only one. The rest of us... No. But I tried. In the end, I did.
Come on. Let's go. We can make it.
Stand unshaken.
death of Arthur Morgan was one of the saddest gaming deaths of all time, but he died knowing that he put everything into saving the gang, and John and his family members are going to live their lives. That was his dream. The one thing I have to say is that Arthur Morgan put everything on the line to save as many people as he can. At the end, he really did give it his all.